Hey, what's up, guys? It's LG1T Legit, and we're here today to talk about the highly anticipated extraction shooter PvPvE Arc Raiders developed by Embark Studios. Embark Studios is more of a newer developer. They did have a big hit that was shadow dropped back at Game Awards a couple years back, the finals. That was an instant hit, free to play, download now during that time. Embark has been working on Arc Raiders extraction shooter for about 6 years or so, but their story has changed and developed throughout the years. Initially being about PvE extraction shooter with their first initial reveal in 2021 with early excitement. They had promises of a fresh co-op shooter experience, but for some reason they went silent and then came back with a rotation more to an extraction shooter. This could have been more from Tarkov and a lot of other extraction shooters having a big hype during that time. They eventually started to have successful technical tests in late 2024 and recently May of 2025, about a month ago. Tech Test 2 was an instant hit. Highly respected streamers like Shroud, Burnt Peanut released this and published this to the masses. Hundreds of thousands of people seeing what Arc Raiders actually was. I would say the general public still does not know about this game. Talking with more of my casual gamer friends other than me, they would not have known about this game yet. The technical test 2 was very small overall. I would say less than 100,000. Peaked at about 21,000 on Steam. But they did have, unlike Marathon, they actually had friend codes after a certain amount of games played. You got 2 friend codes and they were able to get in. And the big thing with this game was it's not only on PC, it was also on Xbox and PlayStation 5. I would say that's one of the biggest things people don't focus on. There is not many extraction shooters on console. You have Hunt Showdown. There's one other game. They're not good at all. They're terrible extraction shooters. Playing in the technical tests of Arc Raiders, it was mind-blowing. This is probably one of the best games I've ever played in my life. The hype around this game just was astronomical. One of the biggest games upcoming in 2025 into 2026. They said earlier this year, yes, we're going to release in 2025. They didn't have an exact date yet. By the end of Technical Test 2, they pretty much said the game is coming soon, or you'll be able to get back to the Rust Belt and play again. Over the last month, prior to Summer Game Fest, the hype built. Over the last couple weeks, prior to Summer Game Fest, the community started to come together. Me personally, I made a small Discord of players I played with in the technical test. And other big voices in the community like Scrappy also made Discords, with his being named Speranza. This not only brought a small group of players together, but these players were deep diving everything and anything, investigating anything released on the game, including even Steam updates. I believe this is where the hype hit one of the highest points, is when there was a update to a Steam file that was up for about 9 minutes. This file had a .exe file that pretty much said, we're not going to tell you the date of release, but it did have a countdown timer. That countdown timer went to June 6th at 5 p.m., which was Summer Game Fest. At this time, the hype, like I said, was at an all-time high. Everyone was going crazy, trying to find anything and everything. The days leading up to Summer Game Fest, there was a ton of things happening. Xbox was releasing preload files, very small things like placeholders for the game where you could actually hit download. It was like about 324 megabytes. There was name changes on Xbox, PlayStation. There was ESRB ratings. All these pretty much are only done when the game is actually done and submitted. It was almost positive that this game was either going to be shadow dropped, like the finals at the Game Awards, which was a different event, but this was the same event host, which was Jeff Keighley. Jeff Keighley that morning on Summer Game Fest at 8:50 a.m. posted a picture of nothing other than a rooster on Summer Game Fest stage. This just exploded on the internet. This post on Twitter has 1.1 million views, which is crazy. This cemented our creators community. Like, we are getting either a shadow drop or an open beta this weekend. We are playing our creators today. The hype in the Discords, Twitter, just absolutely insane. During this time, since the playtest, or the technical test 2, there was almost nothing said from Embark Studios, which is very odd. Other than these little hints here and there, that's about all we got. We were on our own hype train pretty much, but again, at the same time, this is very encouraged by not only Embark, but also the hosts at Summer Game Fest. Summer Game Fest comes around 5 p.m. Eventually, during the live stream, with over 700,000 people watching, with Jeff actually just posting that this was the largest Summer Game Fest live stream he's ever had. Pretty much a 35% year-over-year growth in preliminary numbers. So he knew exactly what he was doing. He's known for being a hype man, even though it's not always true. So he pokes at all these communities to even pretty much get those views, so more people are there seeing all the games. The main difference between the finals and Arc Raiders was the finals was at the end of the show and they said play now. And the beta was open within a few hours. You were able to play that night. Or the full game, sorry. They shadow dropped it. They did have a open beta about a month before. That was another difference. Technical Test 2 was closed with friend invite, so it was a little bit different. But I would say once we saw that trailer, which was a very minimal trailer, didn't show much. Not much, nothing new overall. A new map, possibly, greener map with grasslands. A new big arc other than the Queen. That's about it. I would say at this time, our creators community was at an all-time low. The hype was gone. We're all looking for answers of why. Why hype this much up for a trailer with nothing in it? Overall, like I said, it was very underwhelming. Nothing new, really. No gameplay to really hype up other people that haven't played the game, that haven't seen the game. It was just a very general trailer for the game. The big reason that I'm kind of focusing on was why. Why do all this, and was there something that happened? Something big within the game development that no one actually knows about happened. It was revealed after by some deep divers of the community that the community manager actually left Embark about 10 days prior to Summer Game Fest, and he or she was the one that usually did all this kind of stuff. Was he or she involved in this .exe file that really hyped up and disappointed the community all at once? Or is that totally separate of what was actually going on? Was it personal? Was it the job? No one knows. No one's there to judge in that part. The big thing we need to focus on is that they actually, Embark came out this morning and they actually apologized. They went with the hype and they didn't say anything. I think that's the biggest point to take. There was no transparency between the community and Embark. Even though the community has been given this game the biggest free advertisement hype, probably more than they expected. We've been doing everything for them. Scrappy, one of them, pretty much right now, he's not getting paid anything. Full-time job trying to do this. And there's many like him, our creators guy, etc. We're here to support the game no matter what. The game is beautiful. It's on all systems. It includes controller players, mouse and key players, all the above. This is one of the hardest part in extraction shooters. For some reason, no one can get the controller base versus mouse and key to work properly. A lot of other big names like Delta Force have been working on it, but they haven't come out with it. It kind of blows my mind, honestly, because you can map these out pretty simply, do wheels from one hold button, just like our creators did. You could do that on Steam. So it's kind of confusing why a lot of these other developers can't do it. Kind of going back to why they didn't release the game. They said they need more time for development. They did say we only played about 20% of the game in Tech Test 2, which kind of blows my mind. Versus Marathon, which I did not play in the alpha, that game is very, very minimal to this Tech Test 2 of our creators. Night and day. There was so much content in just this technical test, it was mind-blowing. So what next? What are we doing next? Well, we're waiting for October 30th. Hopefully in August, I've heard there is another game, I believe it's Gamescom is going on. Maybe they'll open pre-orders there. Pre-orders could mean pre-orders with a beta, or they could just say, yeah, we're gonna do pre-orders, and they know their game is that good that they'll do an open beta and everyone can play. I think that's the biggest thing with extraction shooters. People are very guarded, especially if it's a paid premium title of $40. And that's personal friends. Anything over that, they will not pay for extraction shooter. They've already told me that. So we're all high hopes. We're all here to grow with Embark, trying to make their game the best it can be. And honestly, we can't wait. Peace out, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe.